Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Ironclad RC. I'm Big B. We got the 51 TFL Ariane on the block. Today we're going to be epoxying, well, I guess reinforcing the servo mount into the hull. It needs to be reinforced. It's basically epoxied in, but today we're actually going to be using a fiberglass seam and part mounting tape. Okay, it's basically a 25 millimeter wide thin piece of fiberglass cloth. It comes in a 25 millimeter wide option and a 50 millimeter wide option. Okay, it's relatively cheap and you can get different lengths. Okay, it makes great part mounting reinforcement within your build. It's also used like if you're reinforcing the seam of your boat. You actually go on the inside here and you would actually use that wide, the 50 millimeter tape, and it will reinforce the seam. Also used when you're putting a top side and a bottom half together, initial seam reinforcement. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I use it. All right, we're going to be using the VENOM carbon epoxy. It's a laminating resin, and we got to pull all this apart, so stick around. Big B with Ironclad RC. So I got my cable covers off. You know, I just kind of tied it back here so it's out of our way. And I went ahead and took the servo, the servo mount, everything off of our mount so we can get to it. We can prep it up the right way and install it the right way. So I got this little bit on my Dremel here. So I just use 91% alcohol to clean my area. Denatured alcohol is the best. It's the best. It's 99.99999% prep, 0.1% actual work, like resin, cloth. You know, it's all about the prep. Getting this stuff to stick. Third time wiping it down. Okay, so this is a 2-to-1 VENOM carbon brand laminating resin. Okay, I'm gonna get about 3 grams mixed up. That's about all we need. I'm actually gonna go ahead and hit this area. Go ahead and wet it out. I want this epoxy to kind of soak in, down, around the mount, under the stock lay up here. So we'll go kind of heavy with it, and then we'll clean up any excess when we're done, you know. So I'm just going to go heavy with it so it kind of soaks down like these seams right here. So it kind of soaks down on that seam. If there's any like void, it'll like soak under the mount, like in this area. See how it's loose right here? You know, so I went kind of heavy with it. This tape, you basically, I mean, you can try to do it all in one piece. I would, you know, try to go around it, but I'm basically going to cut mine the length of the mount. It's pretty easy stuff to work with. I hadn't used it in a long time, but you basically just cut it the length of your mount, the shape of your mount, you know. Then you lay it down. I'm going to get you zoomed in here. You kind of lay it down and you wet it out. It's pretty simple stuff to work with. You see how it wets out? And then you actually give it, you know, a couple minutes to soak up the epoxy. You know? Like, it's not going to fully soak the epoxy up in like 10 seconds. So wet it out and then go to your next little area. You feel me? Kind of go to your next area, wet that one out, and then, you know, go from there with it. basically done here. We're going to let it cure out, and then we're going to try to cut it out and clean it up so it looks like the mount was basically built into the boat, you know. So we'll clean it up, and then we may actually lay down some more depending on how it looks. Like I did 2 out here, 2 out here, 1 on the seam on the inside of each inside, and then I connected the seam with a couple pieces, so I have a nice base for both sides to like pull off of. But before it completely dries, just clean your mount or whatever you're working with alcohol, you know. Keep it clean so it looks nice and tidy when you're done, you know. All right, so it's actually the next day and everything's cured out. It's solid, y'all. It's solid. I could stop right now. I could go ahead and put the servo components back on and finish it up, but I think I'm gonna cut this piece right here out where these cutouts are, you know. So I basically used my hobby knife here, and I cut all the extra fiberglass off, okay, both sides. So I'm actually roughing up the previous layup, like right here where it goes onto the mount. I'm kind of laying down any hard edges so it's not quite as noticeable, you know. Before we put our next layup on here, gotta rough it up, clean it, rough it, you know. Even out here where you didn't put epoxy, just kind of rough it up so when you do put epoxy down, it actually sticks. Yeah, so I could have just left it alone. It's actually pretty stout and solid, but I didn't really build the inside up, you know. Like I didn't really build the inside up like really high on the side of my mount, so I figured I would kind of add this for some extra reinforcement. We'll never have access to this again, you know, like we do now. So I got it all finished up. I cut those out. Okay, we did that extra reinforcement in the center there, and it's tough. It's ironclad, boy. It ain't going nowhere. Where you going? Nowhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the hardware back in. I'm not gonna video that. I'll just cut back into installing the servo, kind of getting everything hooked up. Now I had a couple guys ask me where I got these. It came with the boat, but you can get these from Offshore Electrics, you know. I have a link in the description. Kind of got the servo dropped in there for my initial setup of the boat. All right, but it's in there. Like, it's actually taking the whole bottom of the boat with it, and it's solid, man. It is solid. Yeah. I got it all cleaned up. Got these holes cleaned up there. It kind of looks it looks like it's supposed to be there, you know. It's built into the boat, so to speak. And yeah. So this cloth, seam tape, mounting tape, it works great. You can get it in a 25 or a 50, you know, double wide version. You can get it in a couple different lengths. It's really cheap, and it works when you mount electronics, motor mount, servo mount, battery trays, mounting post, electronics trays, water pickups. That's what they used here to go around these water pickups and kind of build things into the hull. You know, this is what you use. It's like a scaled down version of a one-to-one cloth you know, that they use to build like bulkheads and motor mounts into one-to-one boats. So we just kind of scaled down the process, you know. So I appreciate you guys watching. Pick up some of this tape. It comes in handy. Just have it laying around, you know. If you get ready to run boats and you need to reinstall something, this is going to be your best bet, you know. It's strong. It's good stuff when used properly. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.